Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. I'll speed through this to get to the good stuff. But essentially, I'm talking about a program that I have had the pleasure of working with Izabela on for quite a while now. I'll show you that in a sec. But it's essentially to take a program that was a series of siloed programs, quite common for a lot of clients, a lot of the big corporations as well, and really transform their insights into digital insights with an extensive reach. So I'm very proud to have a quote from James Johnson, the former GM, a global GM of Customer Insights, where he talked about how we work together. But where we are today is we have a large-scale interactive platform that hosts over 1 million interviews currently. That's just from the last 2 years, covering 67 markets and 7 different brand trackers holistically in one source of truth. And it's very much a partnership. There are 8 what I consider best-in-class research partners, that, including us, that we work together to deliver this. Effectively, what we've done is to integrate the insights, not just to deliver more insights in one place, but really to inform business strategies. So I'll ask Izabela about that shortly, with how we impact. And what I'd like to say is I think I'm quite proud of the fact that we're not just adapting to the changing world of insights, but I think we're shaping it. A little bit of background of where we started, where I started, which was with Izabela while I was at Ipsos 15 years ago. First started on the global retail tracker that it's been going for decades, but just starting in its traditional form, and then standard research, standard DP, standard PowerPoint reporting. And then in 2017, after I transitioned to Infotools, Shell really, they took a gamble on us, and the idea of digital insights transformation to move their retail program to our platform Harmony, and we called it GRT Reporter. Effectively, it was an automated system for data harmonization, interrogation, visualization, and socialization, and reaching near on 1,000 users at Shell before the reinvention recently. So some of the things we've done in the last few years, we've taken multiple sources. That's really crucial when you're looking at platform for business insights, taking multiple primary and secondary resources, feeding them all together into a single platform that was used for annual business brand planning. In 2024, 23, 24, there was a very big initiative, and that's what we're going to talk about shortly with our video, where Shell took, a great move to bring together all of the programs into a single space. So all of the B2C trackers into a singular modular survey, which is then hosted in this digital ecosystem. And since that's been set up and is kind of running smoothly, very smoothly, we've been looking at developments, including key drivers analysis that we're now using SEM modeling that we're building to within the platform, and we hope in the next year or two to actually make that live analysis in the platform that can then link back to profiling, targeting variables, allowing you to do opportunity sizing and simulation work. We're also feeding in our Gen AI tool, which is Chat Harmony, that I'm going to give you a little sneak preview, and a fireside chat that Izabela and I had. I say fireside, it was actually virtual. I was at SMR in Prague and Izabela was in Poland, where I asked her some questions about the program, and really, just starting with, how do you handle such a big program and all of those 7 trackers in one place? There's quite a lot that you cover in that.
Indeed. Yeah, we have a number of businesses, and that is why we used to have a very siloed landscape of our brand trackers, because the businesses operate separately. We've got different structures for various teams, and obviously there is a general strategy, but operationally they are just different businesses.
So the decision to bring it all together into an integrated solution, where did that come from?
We kind of anticipated our currently very well defined and pronounced strategy of building total customer value. And we felt that the time is ripe to harmonize the programs that we've got across mobility and lubricants, and at the time also energy business, to understand the total customer value, the total customer view. It was quite evident that with such a wide scope, we are looking at the same people, really, the same customers from different angles, and we don't have this common denominator. We don't have the view fully integrated. So we have decided to put it all together. Cross-selling opportunities are obviously huge, and there is a number of other benefits associated with this kind of harmonization, like communication alignment, understanding what is important for our customers in the context of various businesses, and looking for those common denominators, then translating it into harmonized strategy and harmonized communication. So these were really the two things that drove our decision to harmonize. So understanding the total customer view, total customer value, and cross-business opportunities in terms of cross-selling and communication efficiencies. Obviously, there are also, if I may just add, there are also process efficiencies. If you use fewer vendors to run the program, that makes everything just more easier, more efficient, more cost effective. Sample efficiencies are very attractive. So that was an extra incentive on top of the benefits for the business.
So one thing before we get into the details, would you say that it was kind of the idea was received well from the business when you first started exploring it? Was it a positive reaction?
I think everyone appreciated the opportunity. Yeah, that was quite evident that the opportunity is there, but it is a big and complex company, and our businesses also have quite a lot of heritage. And obviously, we had legacy programs that used to run sometimes for over 20 years consistently without any trend break. So I wouldn't say, there was some healthy skepticism, I would say. Yeah, just we were testing our minds whether this is something that we can overcome in terms of internal engagement and getting buy-in from the stakeholders, balancing the benefits, which were obvious, against the risks, which were less obvious. Yeah, so we had to really carefully analyze the risks and then assess the trade-offs.
So you ended up with, we're effectively talking about 7 different surveys with four trackers within a single ecosystem. I think we're already up to over 1 million responses in the last year and a half, which is incredible. You're talking about some of those challenges. What were some of the unforeseen challenges? How did you overcome them?
Okay, so the idea was to streamline everything. And the first obstacle, which wasn't really unforeseen, but sometimes we just underestimate how big the problem is, were inconsistencies between those various businesses and trackers in terms, for example, of scope. So we may have different geographical focus for one business than for others. And in some cases, we could align these. So we were able to synchronize. In others, the decision was, no, we really want to keep it specific for the business. And going through those inconsistencies and making those decisions, obviously with a very strong engagement from our internal stakeholders, I think that was quite a challenge. Transition management, that's another big challenge. I wouldn't say unforeseen, but you first see the problems, you just never know when they will pop up. So
exactly.
These are the surprises that you expect. You just don't know what they are going to be. That was a really transformational project. So we have completely redesigned our programs, and therefore we had to take our stakeholders, and we really have a lot of them, through the change, through the methodology change, scope amendments, new and often unfamiliar design and get their buy-in, build the credibility of the program, and give them confidence the data is sound and the insights getting can be safely used in the business environment.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, the second big challenge.
And timings, I guess, were a
that
big
was my
issue,
last
right?
point. Last point,
Go for
yes.
it.
Again, it's not something that is unexpected, but we operated under extremely strong time pressure. And
Yeah.
probably the biggest surprise was that we've managed. Actually,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
have managed to launch it when we wanted to launch it, and it works. Yeah, we obviously had to make amendments after it has been launched, but the initial setup was mostly preserved to this moment. So I think it was a big success.
And you had almost no break, or a very short break really, between the transition from the older legacy studies to this new one, right? It was, you kind of had the continuous, or
That actually
correct?
depends on the business. Yeah, in some businesses we've made the switch quite quickly. In our biggest mobility chunk of the program, biggest in terms of the scope, yeah, we cover over 60 markets with that, and that is related to petrol station. We had quite a long parallel run to make sure that the data is stable and have a really safe transition between the two programs.
Yeah, I can see that. So let's talk a little bit about how it works. You mentioned earlier about having fewer agencies, fewer different businesses involved, but you still have quite a lot. You still have your consultancies and your fieldwork, and obviously us as the data platform. How does that multi-agency collaboration work? So kind of what did you put into place and what made it work? Because I think it's a huge success, but from your perspective, how did you make it work? Yeah,
I think really the most important part of the solution and the answer to these questions, people. Well, obviously we have selected the best agencies that are in the world. We work with highest quality partners, but also within each of these agencies, I think we really have very, very good teams, very capable, committed people who are always happy to go the extra mile. And what is, I think, really fundamental for this kind of cooperation is trust and openness. So with good people, you can build that, and then that pays off. What I think is absolutely crucial is the fact that we as Shell, we build long-term relationships. And so we invest in the relationship with our partners, and I think they also see return on their investment. So even if you don't have the biggest scope in this cycle of the tracking, you want to stay in the game, and you really want to be seen as collaborative and a good partner. And I think this is really number one reason why it works. Apart from people, I think you also need procedures. And I think we've got quite a good structure and a relatively good balance between what is centrally designed and imposed and managed, and what is input from all the agencies. We try to listen. We try to listen to the feedback.
I think you do really well.
And adjust things that just don't work, because it is this is the beauty of trackers, and this is one of the things I love about trackers, that it is a cycle. You've got you make mistakes, amend them, you apply new rules, and you improve. So after 1.5 2 years of those cycles, I think we zeroed on a relatively smooth project management and cooperation.
So now that you've gotten to a point where it's well established, the processes are in place, what's to come? Because you don't stand still on these things, do you? There's a lot still to do. So what's next?
Yeah, so we have opened, to tracking. So first you obviously report your performance on a quarterly basis, but there's a number of work streams that are now looking at the cross-selling opportunities, all those things that we have developed that we have never had, but now we can add the overlap between various categories. We needed some time to accumulate enough data, because obviously it is a modular design, so in order to have sufficient robust sample sizes, you need to wait a little bit. So it is now at the time when we have really initiated some of those cross-business initiatives. I've got also a vision of what we can do next with the program in terms of amending its design. I think we can build on using the knowledge that we have collected. So when we started this program, we didn't really know what are the incidence rates of various audiences. Now we do, and we can be really very precise in how we define our audiences next. And I think there is an opportunity in designing the questions in a different way using this knowledge and making sure that actually we capture this overlap already in the questionnaire. There's another big work stream, and this is the drivers analysis. We, in cooperation with Harmony, developing a capability actually to create drivers real time in a very flexible way, so we can change the dependent and independent variables in a very flexible way. And when we integrated it with this cross-category analysis, we are going to get a really very powerful tool. So looking at the drivers across categories, I think this is really next big thing. Yeah. Once we've got that,
exactly.
Once we've got that, we can run simulations and modeling of our preference and other metrics. We can complement it with the data that we run internally with our market and business data. So I would love to integrate our drivers analysis with marketing mix modeling that we do using non-survey data.
So just moving on very quickly to finish off with the other part of what we're offering at the moment in this tool for Shell, which is Chat Harmony. So our version of integrating Gen AI. So I think if you press a button, Ray, you'll be able to see a live version. This is the platform. So this is the real platform working away. You can see it's a dashboard where you would, is it moving? I think you have to click again. Sorry.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, brilliant. So at the moment, Harmony tool works on one view or snapshot of data at a time. We're looking to develop this now so that it'll work across an entire story, if you like, an entire brief of data. And then, the progression naturally over time will be to actually be able to look across an entire database. So it starts by looking at the section chunk of data that we've got and visualized here, and very quickly pops up with the interpretation. Obviously, it is currently what it sees on the page. So it's a very quick, but I think well-structured interpretation in real words of what the chart's saying. But then you can take it that step further, of course. It's the asking questions that's the important thing. In this case, we're asking, what is behind the slow take-up of the electric vehicles? So we ask that question, it goes away, has a little think, does a little bit of exploring, you know how it works, and then generates what it can find from multiple sources in the web. So this, is what researchers can do, what they should do. But the point about us and the tools that we've always delivered is about getting that speed, that quick response. And what I think it comes back here with is a pretty nice understanding of what's happening on the page for researchers and insights leads to take back to the business. Moving on to the final page, so we can talk about this transformation and the lessons we learned. I won't go read through them all, you guys can get it, but essentially that continuing to evolve, review, improve, work together, be a team that works closely together and collaborates, has roles and responsibilities, and make sure to always engage in managing that process and changing when it's required, is all important. The technology is crucial, and we've got the technology in the platform. But if you don't have the people to ask the right questions or shape it in the right way or listen to the clients, listen to Izabela's needs, and then turn that into the technology, it won't progress as successfully as I think it has done for us, for sure.
I know we've got some qualitative people in the audience, so I'll ask a question to both of you. Does qual fit into this picture? So you've got all this quantitative stuff. You will be doing lots of qualitative research along the way. Is that currently embedded? Is there a plan to try to embed that in?
Okay. Hi, hello everyone. This is Alive Me. We do a lot of qualitative research, and we have got a knowledge management platform where all this is stored. And the intention really is to bring harmony into our overall knowledge management platform and combine qualitative with quantitative that way rather than the other way around. Yeah, this is we've got really two very advanced tools for data mining and for unstructured information storing, but they are not integrated yet. So this is like a next step in integration for us.
Ray, I almost wish you hadn't asked that, because you've just reminded Izabela of what she has to chase me on next year, which is that development.
We still have got it on our list, Christina.
So has the system changed who can access information? We often talk about democratization. Has this enabled people to access more information when they have a need to access?
Okay, so I think the total number of users probably didn't change. What has changed dramatically is that they see more than just their own business, and they can see the halo effect from other brands, from other businesses. When they ask the question, okay, why my KPIs are changing, they can see a context. Maybe this is because of lubricants campaign rather than mobility campaign. Yeah? So something is driving up my KPIs without me doing anything about it. Or competitors are doing something heavily in another area. And so I think this is the key difference versus what we had before. The information was there, but it wasn't visible across
okay,
areas.
We have another question here. So I had to look at my top screen to see this. How much of the data driving insight on this platform comes from primary data collection, like the trackers, versus other sources? So do you have social media analysis in here, operational data in here at the moment?
Most of the data comes from the tracker. We combine some of our internal business data, some of retail audit data, so kind of Nielsen, GfK panels, and some of our internal sales data, but vast majority is tracker. The rest is really for the context. Also, information about general market like GDP or fuel prices, oil prices, this kind of information.